Hey guys, it's Lord here, back again with another action figure review. Today we'll be taking a look at the G.I. Joe Classified Series Big Boa, not to be confused with Rocky Balboa. So I guess that makes him fake-ass Rocky Balboa? I don't know. Either way, we're taking a look at Big Boa, I want to say he's like the combat instructor for Cobra! This course brought to us by the fine folks over at Hasbro, and is proof that I'm not just buying dreadnoughts from this line anymore. I never said I dislike this line, I'm pretty sure, but I do not care for how many releases they got nowadays. Not McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse bad, mind you, but way back when, a few years ago, G.I. Joe Classified Series literally put out, it felt like 20 figures a year. It was easy to keep up with. Now they put out a lot, and it's not so easy to keep up with. And, you know, money's tight, times are hard, here's a belated Christmas card, you know? So I don't pick them up like I used to. I really don't plan to pick them up like I used to, but some of these Cobra guys I do like, no homo, and I want to keep picking them up. So hopefully by the time this video is posted, we'll have reviews of Copperhead and Scrap Iron going up soon, but if not, expect those in the future. Those are a couple that I do want to pick up that are a little older, that are a bit on the cheap side, much like Big Boa here, who I picked up from my local Target, Tagrat, whatever you want to call it, for $12.50. So that's about half price, because they're what, $24.99. So shout out to Mr. Brian for finding that right after he found a bunch of other crap I paid full price for on like 50% off clearance. So is what it is. That said, as far as Mr. Boa's accessories are concerned, he does come with a pair of alt hands and what do you call these, dumbbells? I feel like the dumbbell is like the name of the bigger one, but I guess dumbbells, barbells, whatever you want to call them. They don't sit in the hands quite right to me, unless you have them like this, which that's not how you arm curl. You arm curl like this. And I used to have weights like this. Then I realized I was a lazy piece of shit, so I got rid of them. But there you go. I don't plan on displaying them with those, though. Or this unhelmeted head with the mouthpiece is cool. He looks like he got punched in the face for hitting on somebody's wife, but there you go. He's got that. And that's your lot. He doesn't come with any, like, real weapons, which is kind of funny. I figured he'd have, like, a pistol or a knife or something. But I guess this guy just throws down in the pit and punches the shit out of people, so that's kind of cool. That said, speaking of the pit, he looks like some reject from Mad Max. What's that guy's name? Humongous. Or better yet, he almost looks like that Masters of the Universe character, or what's his name? Lodar from the mini comic, especially with that helmet. But he's got like a tube on this side, or maybe that's a communicator. Then he's got this earpiece over here. But really cool looking helmet. I can see people getting use out of that for other things. But kind of asymmetrical in design, but I think that's part of the charm of it. I like the kind of skull vent piece here on the front. Excuse me. What I don't like is the fact that he's got the flop crunch. A little bit. It's not egregious, but it's there, and, you know, all you guys defending ab crunches, yeah, you're pretty freaking stupid. But that's besides the point. It's just, ab crunch is such archaic technology compared to a good double ball pig, double barbell, whatever. Because if we're not talking about the ones in McFarlane DC Multiverse, still don't get why everyone's crying about him losing the license. At least Mattel figures can bend forward. There are plenty of good double ball peg torsos out there. For example, Savage Crucible's killing it with torso articulation. Even Mythic Legions, despite the fact it's just a single, they can at least lean forward, right? So, you know, it is what it is. I have my opinions on ab crunches and diaphragm joints, and I prefer the diaphragm joint. What are you gonna do? Even Diamond Select has some that move pretty good. But as far as his articulation goes, his head can look up pretty well. Could look down. He does have a bit of a joint in the neck there, so that's helpful. Especially when you want to tilt. He does have some rotation in there. Shoulders will go out to the side about this far. He does have butterflies, but when I opened this guy, they were really hard to move. I ran this guy under the cold water to make sure they were moving and I wasn't just kind of wearing that joint out. And, well, I think I wore it out a tiny bit. It was mostly just to get it to move, so I don't think I did any damage, like physical damage, but I do think I loosened them up quite a bit. But this one was really tricky. This one felt like it worked out of package. Yeah, they work, I think, but not great. So, you know, one thing I will give McFarlane, because of the ball peg, they might get sticky at times, but if you put a little kind of a lubricant or like soap or something in there, you can get it to work, guaranteed. Because most of the time McFarlane toys, the arms pop off and you can fix them. I kind of don't mind that. Excuse me. So, you know, as long as I can fix the problem, I can kind of overlook it, but if it's still a problem, then I do need to address it regardless. He does have a full rotation in the shoulder, bicep swivel. I feel like I need to heat pinch this bicep a little close. It's a little loose after messing with that butterfly joint there. Double elbow. The top joint doesn't give you much of anything, but the bottom joint gives you past 90, so that's fine. His boxing glove hands will rotate and hinge. And speaking of hands, unlike Sergeant Slaughter, if you just give this guy a little twist, a little twist, a little twist, a little twist, the hands will pop right out. I didn't feel like these were going to snap on me or anything. So kudos to Hasbro for fixing that. That said, these pigs are hella freaking long, and they could probably be like half that length, but whatever, I suppose. This is literally like a Spike T-Man harness. I don't know what the hell's going on there. Ab crunch, you can lean this far back, this far forward. Kind of push it past that point, but I wouldn't. It said putting him back into place. He doesn't wiggle that much, I guess. It's still there, though. Ugh. That's just my OCD getting triggered. His waist will turn. That's nice and tight. I will say the waist joints on these figures have always been pretty solid. Sometimes a little too solid. Unlike these dumbass drop-down hips. He's got the drop-down hips. They're not the worst ever. Like this one is looser than the other side. But not by a ton. I will say this leg is pretty loose at the hip compared to this one. Which this one's not like super rock solid, but this one is almost floppy. I did heat it up and cool it off and pop it back on earlier, but I might do that again and actually give it the deep freeze, let it sit overnight in the freezer, then pop it on. But maybe I'll just leave it, because it's not terrible. It's not like flopping around in neutral, so I might just leave it. He does have a thigh cut. That works okay. I'm going to move to this leg, because the double knee on this guy is ridiculous. Like, this is where all the stiffness goes. And thankfully, this boot peg, the peg going into the boot, is nice and thick. That's what she said. You don't have to worry about jacking that up, but holy shit, man. I had to put the strength of Zeus into moving that thing. It does work. It's just really freaking tight. He does have a boot swivel. Those were a little sticky out of package, but they seem to work better now. And he's got a hinge in the foot. You can move that far forward, this far back. He's got a rocker that's effective, and peg holes at the bottom of the feet. You could make a custom Bane out of this guy, not gonna lie. He definitely has the legs for it. You just have to maybe sand down this cod piece. I don't know if this is the same as what's that crazy guy's name? Crocmaster, but wouldn't surprise me. He had something like that going on. Although I think his belt was different. He had like an eyeball belt buckle. Belt buckle with an I. Yeah, man, I dig this figure. I think he's cool, especially for $12.50, but he does have some limitations and some complications when it comes to the articulation. But if you're willing to deal with that, if you find it for $12.50, I think you could do a lot worse. I think you could do a lot better. Personally, I think those Sonic figures from... Who's making those? Jack Off Pacific. Are a little bit better than this. And they only cost like $12.50, $15. So that's saying quite a bit, especially since they're all unique sculpts. This guy is using some of the Roadblock upper body. So yeah. With that being said, however, it's time now that we move right along and take a look at some size comparisons. First up, here is fake-ass Rocky Balboa alongside a couple of the Dreadnoughts we've taken a look-see at here on the channel recently, because quite frankly, they're the only G.I. Joe figures I have readily available for size comparisons when it comes to G.I. Joe Classified series at the moment. All my other ones are in storage, even the ones I plan to keep. So, with that being said, we have Zorana and her twin brother Xandar, stupid, in literally the same pose. I mean, if they are twins, I guess that makes sense, but funny, I just realized that just now. But as you can see, Big Boa is a little bit taller than they are, since he does utilize some of the Roadblock parts, at least from the waist up, and then he does have the new taller legs, which are good, but yeah, the one hip's a little loose. I might have to mess with that. Just getting these two out of the way so we can make room for our two regulars, the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibilith, because there is no other Brother Mandibilith, and the infamous Beloved Spawn, who... yeah, he's a little bit taller, but not exactly towering, but tall enough. Because good old Al Simmons is not a 6-inch scale figure, if you didn't already know that. So that being said, it's time now that we wrap things up with some final thoughts. Overall, and despite some of the issues I had with the articulation on good old Big Boa here, I have to say, for $12.50, more than well worth it. I like this guy quite a bit, no homo, because, I don't know, the crazy looking Mad Max characters from G.I. Joe Classified series, they just do something for me. It's why I'm balls deep in the Dreadnoughts right now. It's why I plan to pick up other characters like Scrap Iron and Copperhead, because as I mentioned before, when it comes to Cobra, they either look like Mad Max rejects or Nazi rejects, and in this case, this guy straight up looks like Humongous and or Bane, at least if you ask me, and not for nothing, I think that's kind of cool. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. Until next time, I'll catch you guys later.